If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
A phone call I got 2 nights ago. I was in the hotel in D.C. on the book tour.
Okay.
And pretty happy to say we just found out 2 nights ago that this book, The Long Snapper, has launched as a New York Times bestseller. So that was definitely you asked me for a highlight so far.
You built a brand is what you've done.
Well, I don't know what I've built, but I'm just really pleased, and the support of the publisher, HarperCollins, and people that care about these type of stories. It's just, I'm a big believer in the sports platform. I love watching sports as a fan.
It's a metaphor for life.
It is,
sure.
and the sports platform to me is the single most powerful platform in all America when used properly. That's a key element right there. Plenty of knuckleheads out there, but the Joe Ehrmans of the world, the Brian Kinchins, there's nothing more powerful to reach people, especially young people, when you find athletes and coaches and sports figures and radio personalities and journalists who are using that platform in such a positive way.
You know, I don't know what it is, and I haven't put my finger on it yet, but one day I will, and I'll write a book about it. I have so many great friends of mine who are coaches in the league now, and I think everybody that listens to the show knows Brian Billick's my partner, Marvin Lewis is a great friend, Jim Schwartz. My favorite people that I've met in adulthood have been NFL coaches, and not just that, hockey coaches too.
Well, what do you think?
You know, I'm still great. Well, first off, it's what I do. I mean, the number one part of a job, being a sports writer, sports journalist, you know, back to the days of my being a cub reporter at the News American, was you had to go talk to the coach after the game, right? So you go talk to the coach after the game, and the one thing every coach always realized about me, and sometimes it took them a little while, is I was a little bit different than some of the journalists there. A lot of the journalists were there to sort of muckrake or get the dirt or, you know, break unseemly stories or question them, right? I mean, Johnny Oates and I fought for 2 years, and one day he came running out of Cleveland Stadium shower, tracking me down, soaking wet, pulled me in his office, shut the door. At the end of the year, towel wrapped around, I'll never forget. He's standing there, naked man with a towel wrapped around him, beads of water running down, and says, "You know what? I think I got you all wrong. Like I need to be nicer to you." And I need to be more accessible to you because you really care about the team. You're different than these guys. Like they don't really care if the team wins or loses. It's a better story when they lose. I'm like, I hate to see the Orioles lose. I hate to see the Ravens lose. And I think once they caught on to that, and once they caught on to the fact that I really did want to learn more, you know, Marvin Lewis used to just put the projector on. We'd sit there and talk. So for me, I've learned so much about leadership, management, people, turning the other cheek, all of that stuff from football coaches. And I don't know why that is or why they've taken to me as their pupil or friend or, you know, I don't know. But when I sit with football coaches, I have the best time. Just 2 hours of just sitting over a beer, over a chalkboard, whatever it is, that's just for me. So you've written football. You haven't written any basketball stories, right? You're a football guy.
With the books so far, I have not written a basketball-related book.
What is it about football that draws you in? I mean, from being a boy, you were a ball boy for the Colts.
I think it probably goes all the way back to that because, you know, those guys had such a big impact on my whole childhood and therefore my whole life ever since. I mean, I joke about this with my wife. I say it's all Colts all the time and all roads lead through the Colts, which sounds weird as a 46-year-old man who did this as an 11-year-old and through my teenage years. But man, the lessons I learned from those guys and the impact and then the relationships that were built and the friendships that still continue to this day.
See, my dad taught me that stuff through baseball.
Right.
You know, I didn't play a lot of football as a kid. I played a ton of baseball as a kid, organized ball, and all those lessons in life. Hit the cutoff man, work hard, run out every ground ball, look out for your teammates, sacrifice when you need to, don't ever quit. You know, all of that stuff. Learn how to take a pitch, you know, learn how to take one for the team. All of those lines and one-liners and metaphors that my father taught me as a 5-year-old kid are things that I use as a 40-year-old entrepreneur every day of my life.
And there's no question, and a lot of that cliche stuff that after a while, when you're...
It becomes cliche.
It does, but what's amazing about it is most of it is true. If you take it and apply it to your life. You know, I had a coach, I was a basketball guy in high school, and I had a coach who taught me the concept of no regrets. At that time, it just meant if we work hard, if we practice hard, if we do all the things we're supposed to do, then no matter what happens on the court and on the scoreboard at the end of the game, well, he wasn't really teaching us about basketball. It's only later I learned that he was teaching. But that is the concept I take with me everywhere I go in my life, in everything I do, whether it's personal, professional. If you take that and lead your life by no regrets, that ties into the Season of Life book. It ties into the Long Snapper. I think it ties into most of the work that I do.
All right, the story is about Brian Kinchin. Many of you may remember him.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.